Okay, so this is a question related to cumulative relative frequency, and this specific problem said that Human Resources Department of a large corporation launched a study to determine whether their health insurance plan was meeting employee needs. The HR director interviewed a sample of 25 employees and asked each one to calculate their average monthly out-of-pocket healthcare expenses. The graph below shows the cumulative relative frequency of average monthly healthcare expenditures for these employees. Okay, so remember about a cumulative relative frequency graph. Along the x-axis in this specific problem is the amount spent out-of-pocket per month. And so instead of with a relative frequency graph for each category, we would put how many fell in that category out of the total number of surveyed, which in this case would be 25. But for cumulative relative frequency, we keep on adding that. So for example, if I go to $20 and so let's get on my pen here. If I go to $20 and then, so $20 again on the x-axis, and then go across to the cumulative relative frequency, let's see what I would think that is. I would say about somewhere between 28 and 30, I would say, %. So what does that mean? That means 28 to 30% of those surveyed spent $20 or less out of pocket per month on healthcare. So it's cumulative, the amount. It's not just saying the amount between 10 and 20, for example. It's the amount all the way and up to and including $20. So let's do another example. Like if I go to $30 and go up, that there is saying, let's say about 55. It's saying that 55% of those surveyed spent $30 or less per month. Okay, so based on that, let's go to part A here. The graph is steepest in the interval between expenditures of 10 and 30. All right, so let's see what that exactly means. So, whoa, didn't mean to do that. Let's erase this. Why is this not erasing? All right, for some reason that is not erasing. Oh, there we go. Okay, so let's go to between at 10. So it's saying between 10 and 30, the graph is the steepest. Yeah, it's that steep, it's going up much quickly. It's much steeper than the other parts of the graph. So at 10, I would say it's about 8%. And then at 30, we just said it was about 55%. So 8% to 55%. So that's a big jump. So what percent of people spent between 10 and 30% of people surveyed? Well, 55 minus 8 would be about 47% of the data is between 10 and 30. But then it's relatively flat from 60 to 100. So at 60, if I go across, looks like 88. So it looks like only 12% of the data is between 60 and 100. So the data is much more concentrated to the left here. So I would say, given it's much more concentrated to the left, and the values going from 60 to 100, there are much less data values in there, it would suggest this graph is skewed to the right. So again, 47% of the data lies between $10 and $30, meaning that 47% of the 25 employees spent between $10 and $30 out of pocket per month, whereas only 12% of the data lies between $60 and $100. So only 12% of participants spent between $60 and $100 out of pocket per month. Okay, so let's, and so again, given the steepness towards the lower amount spent, it would suggest to me that this is skewed right. Big concentration to the left and then a longer tail to the right. Let's look at part B. Use this, and I'll use a red pen here. Use this graph to estimate the IQR. Okay, remember IQR is Q3 minus Q1. So Q3 here, remember Q3 means 75% and Q1 is 25%. Okay, so remember when we divide the data median and then Q3 and Q1, where first the median is 50% and then the Q1 is dividing the first half into quarters, so that would be the 25%, and the Q3 is dividing the second half into quarters, so we are second half into 2 halves, so that's the 75%. So let me restate that. After you do the median of the 50%, you're dividing the first half into halves, which means you're really, when you do the Q1, it's 25%. After you do the median, when you're doing the upper half and dividing it to half, that's going to be the 75%, hence the Q3 and Q1. Oh, okay, sorry about that. All right, so 75%. Let's go to 75% here. Remember, the percents are on the y-axis. So it looks like 75% is right around, I would say, let's see if I'm going to do that again. Maybe it's a little bit less than that dot. Somewhere between 45 and 50. Maybe I'll say 48. So $48 minus, let's go to 25%. I'm going to say minus maybe about 18. Oh, that makes it nice. So 48 minus 18. So the IQR seems to be about $30. Now let's go to part C, which is what percent of the employees spend at least 60 per month. So at least means 60 or greater. So let's go to the 60 here. And we're already there. And I think we said about 88%. So 88% spend 60 or less. So that means 100% minus 88%. Or 12% spend at least or more than 60. So 60 or greater, or you could also just say spend greater than 60. Okay, so hopefully that gives you a little bit of a feel for the cumulative relative frequency graphs, and that will help you with tackling a different type of a different problem of this same type.